the shape of the graph confirms that the numbers have grown from about 6,000 at the end of last year, when the officer suspensions took place, and have more than doubled in number to August, reaching 13,000 in mid-August, when the first notices of possible auto-exclusion were dispatched. Now, at this rate, the purge is on course to claim as many as 20,000 victims by the end of 2021.
Starmer, Blair and Mandelson are first and foremost agents, not of the Israeli state, but of the British state. Not of the Israeli ruling class, but of the British ruling class. In a brilliant inversion of the original ploy, the ruling class are exploiting Jews as a reactionary political weapon. And just as before, the ruling class had always found anti-Semitism a fiendishly useful tool, now in a peculiar inversion, a peculiar mirror image, they're trying to deploy popular revulsion against what they dishonestly masquerade as anti-Semitism to discredit the left.
People may remember that there were accusations in the media. We've got this man is a Czech spy. Do you remember? Yeah? Allegations against Jeremy. That he is a security threat. You had senior military figures suggesting that they might need to mount a coup if Corbyn were ever to reach Downing Street. You had John McDonnell being described as a terrorist sympathiser, digging up his past sympathies with Irish republicanism and so on. So this was the establishment gearing up right from the beginning, without the benefit of a host of anti-Semitism allegations at their beck and call, to destroy even the tiniest hint of a potential movement of the left being in a position to take some sort of control, some sort of have power and influence in British society. We can't get our story out there. You know, we bring legal cases. Richard can talk a bit more about the legal case. Nobody gets to hear about them. I mean, there are really major injustices going on in the currently the second most significant political party in the United Kingdom. And nobody knows about it because the media only wants to report bad news for the left.
What has happened now is that we have a discourse where you're only allowed to have one view, and there are large areas of reporting which in the mainstream media are simply not allowed.
So we've got to a point where, as I mentioned earlier, you could actually have, on Have I Got News For You, Finn Taylor, a comedian in Britain, say that he hoped all Corbyn supporters could gather in Glastonbury so they could all be bombed, to riotous applause and laughter. You also, in addition to that, have the Board of Deputies, which militated relentlessly against every single one of you in this building, announce in their trustees' report of 2020 that they have a close working relationship with the Israeli embassy, their words, not mine, and that they have strengthened links with the Ministry of Strategic Affairs in Israel and with the IDF, and not one word is mentioned within our servile media.
Another one I've been working on enormously hard, Islamophobia. In the mainstream papers, it's not acknowledged that it exists. Even the term is mocked. If you say to the Tory party there's a problem with Islamophobia, they'll say, oh, Islamophobia is a term being dreamt up to stop Muslims, by Muslims, to stop themselves being attacked. Imagine and somehow they get away with it. The Labour Party. Imagine if the Labour Party said that anti-Semitism is a term dreamt up in order to stop Jews being, Israel being attacked. Quite rightly, the world would have gone. There would have been fury, but you can do this, and this liberates ferocious and brutal sectarian attacks on a very serious part of British society.
Where are we represented in the media? You have 6.6 million members of trade unions in this country. That is around 10% of the population. Why is the money that is going through the trade unions not turning into media? Why do we not have that powerful backing to disseminate our ideas that the majority of the population would support? Thank you.
And in 1967 was when the Israeli military came with their guns and their bullets and started shooting into the home of my dad's house when he was just a small child. And they were forced to hide under the table in the front room in order to avoid the bullets, and had to crawl through the back of their house with just the clothes that they had on their backs. Israel's arms trade has a strategic advantage because Israel's apartheid state is based on dominating and oppressing the Palestinian people, and therefore they can test out their weapons and sell them on to other countries and other oppressive regimes. We've seen it in 2014 when Israel killed 2,200 Palestinians and 500 children in just 50 days, and it was time to take direct action. It was time to cut out the middleman and to say, actually, if we have Israel's largest arms company, largest private arms company, Elbit Systems, who literally market their weapons as battle-tested on Palestinians, on the captive population of Gaza. And I say that a lot because I think it's important for people to know. Every single time it makes me feel sick to my stomach, because that is the reality. Israel's arms trade has a strategic advantage because Israel's apartheid state is based on dominating and oppressing the Palestinian people, and therefore they can test out their weapons and sell them on to other countries and other oppressive regimes. Every single one of us in this room can help us and make sure that we shut Elbit down.
Whenever I hear a politician say efficiency, I reinterpret that word to mean, how can I line my own pockets and my corporate friends' pockets? Because that's what's happened. The NHS used to be beautifully efficient, 4% running cost. Now estimates are between 16 and 20%. The efficient model we're following spends 36% on administration. What does administration mean? Chief executive pay packets, shareholder value, and the massive bureaucracy that is required to carry out this elaborate con. It is huge. We are being hoodwinked. So how will it work? What the bill does, it gives legal footing to what's been going on for over a decade. In 2006, under the new Labour government, there was something called world-class commissioning, whereby they said, we're going to split the NHS up further into a purchasing arm and a providing arm, and in order for us to use the market expertise, we're going to bring in these people from the private sector, from United Health, from the big four accountancy firms, from McKinsey, the management consultants. We're going to bring these lovely people in who only want the best for everybody, and they're going to tell us how to run the NHS more efficiently. Aren't they lovely, right? They're telling us the procedures that the NHS can no longer provide.
I want to pay tribute to Jeremy Corbyn, who led our party through some really difficult times, who energised our movement, and who's a friend as well as a colleague.
Apart from when it suits his politics, Starmer, he just ignores race. Until the protests after George Floyd was murdered, they did nothing. Taking the knee and the Union Jack, that thing, flying behind them, that was just a publicity stunt. When he called Black Lives Matter a moment, that's what he really thinks. Only after there were so many complaints, Starmer took half a day of anti-black racism training. Half a day! He needs years. I don't care. I don't care what happens. I'll say what I like to anybody. But if I don't get this role as councillor, no black person from where I am is going to be doing it. And the ward where I live has got 55% of black people in it and no black representation. And that's not unusual. This is what's happening. This is how it is to be in the Labour Party and black.
I accuse Keir Starmer, the Parliamentary Labour Party and the right-wing bureaucrats of actually sabotaging the unique moment in history, the opportunity that we had to bring about an irreversible change in the balance of wealth and power in our country. And I think that's an unforgivable thing that they did, and they stand accused and should be damned to hell, in my opinion.
But we do have those hundreds of thousands of people who are still there. They won't be there for long. They will evaporate as time passes, month after month. More will turn away, more will get alienated, more will turn their backs on politics. Now we are many. We've got to seize this moment. We really have to seize this moment.
As we come marching, marching, we bring the greater days. For the rising of the women raises up the human race. No more the drudge and idler, millions toil where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses.